At my birthday party, my friend stood up to make a toast, then spent 10 minutes mocking my clothes, my career, my relationship, and my fake friends. She thought it was a hilarious roast, until the room fell dead silent and someone yelled, "Why are you even here if you hate her so much?" She tried to laugh it off, then realized half the room was already leaving. By the end of the night, she sat alone at a table, surrounded only by torn wrapping paper and her own regret. I'm not the kind of person who throws big parties. I've never liked being the center of attention. But turning 34 this year felt like something I wanted to mark. Not with a huge crowd or anything crazy, just something meaningful. I've lived in Asheville, North Carolina for over a decade now. It's got that mix of mountain town peace and artsy weirdness that fits me. I paint, I work from home, and I've been building something small but real. So, I planned this birthday gathering upstairs at a quiet spot above a bar I love. I rented the space, got catering from my favorite taco truck, and invited about 30 people. Family, friends from work, people I actually wanted to see. I even made a playlist. I wanted it to feel like a warm hug after what had been a rough couple of years. The only thing that bothered me, the one invitation I wasn't sure about, was Miranda. Miranda and I had been friends since college. That word is doing a lot of heavy lifting. We met at UNC Asheville, and for the first couple of years, she was the closest thing I had to a sister. We were in the same art classes, shared a cheap apartment, even did some joint exhibits back in the day. But over time, she changed. Or maybe I did. Or maybe we just grew in opposite directions. Miranda is the kind of person who says things that hurt and then claims it's just a joke. She once told me my paintings look like high school projects from kids who never got hugged. When I started dating Devin, my long-distance boyfriend of 10 years now, she laughed and said, "Still pretending that's a real relationship, huh?" She had this way of smiling while she said things that cut. I let it slide for years. I excused it because she used to be important to me, because we had history. But the older I got, the more I started to see that she didn't really care about me. Not the real me. She cared about keeping me close, so she could feel better about herself. But against my better judgment, I still invited her. She arrived late, 45 minutes after we'd started. Everyone else was drinking, eating tacos, laughing. Miranda walked in like she was crashing a wedding. She had on this loud red sequin dress, way too much makeup, and heels that clacked against the wooden floor. Everyone else was in jeans or sweaters. She looked like she was trying to get noticed, and honestly, she did. I hugged her anyway. "Hey, glad you made it." She leaned in and whispered, "You look comfortable," and gave me that fake smile. I ignored it. I'd told myself all week I wouldn't let her get under my skin. The night went on. There were cupcakes, drinks, laughter. I felt seen. Loved. For once, I felt like the people around me got me. And then my sister, who had no idea what Miranda was really like, handed her the mic. Miranda said she wanted to say something, she said cheerfully, completely unaware of the hand grenade she was pulling the pin out of. Miranda stood up like she'd been waiting her whole life for this. She took the mic, looked around the room, and said, "Let's talk about our birthday girl." Huh? People clapped politely. "I've known this one since college," she started, back when she thought she was going to be a famous painter. Now she paints dogs on Etsy. Progress, right? A few awkward chuckles. "I mean, you guys have seen her store, right? I think it's called 'Please buy this before I have to get a real job,' or something like that." No more laughs. Just silence. She kept going. "And look at this outfit. I didn't know we were doing pajama chic tonight." My face burned. I was wearing jeans and a soft green blouse. Nothing fancy, just me. "And Devin, where is Devin tonight? Still in Colorado pretending this long-distance thing works? 10 years. Girl, he's not your boyfriend. He's your pen pal." That one stung. Hard. People were frozen. Drinks half-raised. No one laughed. Not even out of politeness. She didn't seem to notice. "And let's not forget the rest of this crowd," she said, waving her hand at everyone. "Y'all really turned out. I see the B team showed up for this one." That's when it happened. From the back of the room, Keith, my quiet friend from high school, a guy who barely says 10 words at any party, suddenly stood up and shouted, "Why are you even here if you hate her so much?" The whole room turned. Miranda froze, mouth open. Keith shook his head and sat down. But the damage was done. Miranda laughed awkwardly. "It's a roast, you guys. A joke." But no one laughed. People started grabbing their jackets. My coworker Ollie leaned over to me and said, "I'm sorry, I can't watch this." She left with her husband. My boss and her wife stood up and just walked out, no goodbye. Even my cousin, who never leaves a party early, hugged me tightly and said, "You didn't deserve that." Miranda tried to save it. "Come on, guys, lighten up. You know I love her. This is how we joke." No one looked at her. I walked up to the mic, picked it up from the stand, and said calmly, "Thanks for coming, everyone. I love you all. I really do." Then I set the mic down. People stayed. They moved to the other side of the room. Someone put music on. The rest of the night became a party again, without her. Miranda sat by herself at a table in the back, torn wrapping paper around her, her drink untouched. No one joined her. She didn't say another word. Eventually, I saw her get up and leave. Through the window, I saw her standing outside alone. No ride. No one waiting. But that moment, that wasn't the revenge. That was just the beginning. She didn't know it yet, but she had lit a match in a room full of people who cared about me. And some of them were already planning how to make sure she never forgot it. The Monday after my party, I went back to work like normal. Or, at least I tried. But something had shifted. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was hollow. Embarrassed, yes. But more than that, I felt like something sacred had been mocked in front of people who mattered to me. I kept replaying her voice in my head. Pen pal. Fake career, B-team. That smug smile. And then Keith texted me. "Keith, hey. I know it's not my place, but if you want me to say something to her, I will." I didn't answer right away, because I didn't want to get pulled into drama. But then I got a DM from one of Miranda's friends, someone I barely knew. Random DM. "Just so you know, Miranda's telling people your guests overreacted because they're too sensitive and low class." Low class. I read that 3 times before it sank in. So that's how she was spinning it. Blaming the room. Not even trying to own what she did. I screenshotted the message and sent it to Keith. "Me," she's still talking, "telling people my friends are low class." Keith. "Okay, your call. But this won't stay quiet if she keeps talking." I thought about it. I really did. Part of me wanted to forget it. Let it blow over. But the other part of me, the tired part, the part that had swallowed her poison for years, that part was done being polite. So, I made a decision. I wrote a post on Facebook. Just a short one. No names. No cursing. Just facts. At my birthday party, someone I considered a friend used their time on the mic to mock my art, my relationship, my guests, and me. She called it a roast. I call it what it really was, cruelty disguised as humor. I've let a lot slide over the years. I won't anymore. If you thought that was funny, unfriend me. That was it. I turned off comments and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to over 40 text messages. Some were from people I hadn't spoken to in months. "Ollie, thank you for saying that. I've been biting my tongue about her for years." My cousin, "I told you she was toxic. I'm glad you're done with her." Even one of Miranda's old roommates messaged me. Ex-roommate. She did the same thing to me at my wedding. Made a speech about my starter marriage. Haven't spoken to her since. It was like a dam broke. People came out of the woodwork. Turns out, Miranda had a reputation. And I wasn't the only one who'd been burned. But here's where things really turned. Someone from her inner circle, a woman named Hannah, sent me screenshots. Miranda had gone into her group chat with her usual crowd, ranting that I was jealous, insecure, and used the party to make herself a victim. She ended one of her rants with, "Whatever. Her career is drawing dogs for boomers." She should be thanking me for giving her a moment. That was it. I called Keith. Let's talk. He showed up that night with his laptop. We went through old messages, photos, emails. We pulled every cruel, manipulative, backhanded thing she'd said to me and to others over the past few years. Not to humiliate her. Not yet. But to have proof. Because I knew where this was going. Meanwhile, word was spreading. People started quietly uninviting her to events. One of her clients, she did PR for a couple of local shops, dropped her after reading my post. Another messaged me to say thank you for the warning.
But Miranda? She still didn't get it.
She sent me a long email titled, "Let's clear the air." In it, she wrote, "I'm sorry you were hurt by my roast. It was meant to be lighthearted. If you took offense, that's on you." There it was again. That tone. That smug, sugar-coated blame. So I replied with just 2 sentences. "You mocked everything I love in front of people who care about me. We are not friends." She never wrote back. But she did post. A lot. She posted quotes about fake friends and people who can't handle strong personalities. She started tagging random people in old photos like she was trying to prove she still had a circle. And one night, at a gallery opening downtown, one I was invited to, I walked in and saw her standing alone near the back, scrolling her phone. She saw me. Flinched. I walked right past her. Didn't nod. Didn't wave. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something. I didn't stop.
Because now
I was done staying quiet. And I hadn't even started yet. A week after the gallery opening, I got a message I didn't expect. It was from Danielle, a woman I barely knew. We'd met twice through mutual friends, mostly in passing. She worked in the same building as Miranda's PR firm. Her message said, "I don't want to get involved, but you need to know something. Miranda's trying to start a whisper campaign against you. She's telling people you orchestrated that party fallout to sabotage her reputation. She's saying you planned it." I stared at my phone for a full minute. I couldn't believe the level of delusion. She embarrassed herself in a room full of people, and now I was the manipulator? I replied to Danielle and thanked her. Then I asked, "Can you send me proof?" 2 hours later, she sent me a screenshot. Miranda had messaged one of the local brewery owners, someone I'd done a mural for last year, saying, "Just a heads up. Be careful working with me. She's playing the victim card hard right now, and trying to get people canceled. Toxic stuff." She included a link to my Facebook post and even suggested the mural I painted wasn't up to standard and might hurt their brand image. I felt my heart pound. She was trying to poison my work now. My living. I took a breath. Then I called Devin. He'd kept mostly quiet through all of this, but when I told him what she was doing now, he didn't hesitate. "She wants war," he said. "Let's give her one." We started reaching out to people. Quietly. Not with gossip, with receipts. Danielle helped. So did Keith. So did a couple of Miranda's ex-clients who'd been rubbed the wrong way by her in the past. Turns out, Miranda had a long list of enemies she didn't know were enemies. A boutique owner she ghosted after a campaign fell flat. A yoga studio she accused of being too white in a public review after they refused to comp her classes. An artist she blackballed from a showcase because he got more attention than she did at a fundraiser. The worst? A charity event coordinator who said Miranda once threatened to pull sponsors unless she was featured as a speaker. That was the moment we knew this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about stopping someone who'd been walking on people for years. So we gathered statements. We compiled screenshots. We put everything in a tidy little PDF packet, and we sent it anonymously to her current clients with a polite note. "Before continuing to associate your brand with this person, we suggest reviewing her pattern of behavior. All of this is verifiable and comes directly from sources who have worked with her." We didn't need to sign it. The facts spoke for themselves. Within 3 days, Miranda lost 2 of her biggest clients. Within a week, one of her old coworkers posted a vague tweet that went viral in our small Asheville scene. "If someone shows you who they are with a microphone in their hand, believe them." The comments filled up with people saying things like, She did the same thing at my birthday. She once told my friend she'd never make it because she didn't wear makeup. This is so on brand for her. I didn't reply to any of them. I didn't need to. Miranda tried to do damage control. She posted a long Instagram story about being bullied by jealous people who can't handle honesty. No one bought it. Then, the twist I didn't see coming. One of her clients filed a small claim against her, accused her of misrepresenting marketing results, and asked for partial reimbursement for services not delivered. It wasn't about money. It was about reputation. And in a town like Asheville, that spreads fast. I heard she tried to get hired at a rival PR firm. They ghosted her. I heard she reached out to an old friend to ask for help rebranding. They blocked her. She showed up at a mutual's art gallery one night, and someone quietly asked her to leave before the event started. This was more than social fallout now. This was exile. And still, she didn't stop. Because Miranda doesn't know when to quit. She started posting old photos of us from college, from road trips, with captions like, "It's sad when people forget who was there for them when they had nothing." And I realized something. She truly believed I owed her loyalty. Even now. Even after all the ways she chipped away at my confidence, my work, my relationships, she thought history meant I'd never stand up to her. But I had. And I wasn't finished. Because there was one final thread left to pull. Something I hadn't told anyone yet. Something I had saved, just in case. She once sent me a message, years ago, bragging about how she inflated marketing numbers for a client she didn't like. Said it was their fault for being dumb enough to believe her. I had kept it. Not out of spite, just instinct. Now it was time to decide what to do with it. I stared at the message for a long time. It was 2 years old. Miranda had sent it after we split a bottle of wine on my porch, ranting about how one of her clients was too stupid to read analytics. She laughed as she typed it. I doubled their numbers just to shut them up. Told them they had 300K impressions. It was 40K tops. They sent a gift basket and called me a genius. LMAO. At the time, I let it slide. I remember thinking, that's shady, but it's not my business.
But now?
She had made it my business. She'd gone after my friends, my relationship, my reputation, even tried to mess with my income. And when that didn't work, she turned herself into the victim. She was never going to stop. Not until someone stopped her. So I made one final move. I printed out the screenshots. I emailed them anonymously again to the client she had bragged about scamming. I included the date, the message, and an explanation. This was sent by your former PR rep, Miranda, redacted, regarding your campaign. I believe you deserve to know the truth. 2 days later, I heard from Danielle again.
They're suing her, she said.
Not just for fraud, for breach of contract. And just like that, Miranda's empire, the one built on charm, backhanded compliments, and lies, finally cracked at the foundation. She tried to fight it, hired a lawyer, went on a podcast to clear her name, told some story about a bitter ex-friend spreading lies because of a failed relationship and a failed career. But it didn't matter. The receipts were real. And even the people who once laughed at her jokes stopped answering her calls. When the lawsuit hit local press, it didn't name me. But people knew. The art community here is tight. Quietly, I started getting more commissions than ever. Not because people felt bad for me, but because they respected that I didn't fold. That I let her burn herself down. And then, the final nail. Miranda's lease ended on her downtown office. She posted about moving to Atlanta for new opportunities. Truth was, she'd been priced out. Couldn't afford to stay. Burned too many bridges. 1 week later, I walked past her old office. The windows were empty. A "for rent" sign in the glass. And taped to the door, someone had written in Sharpie. Some people lose everything not because of bad luck, but because they finally ran out of excuses. I didn't write it. I didn't need to.
No.
I don't. Because I let her stay in my life for too long. I let her joke slide. I excused the way she humiliated me, dismissed me, talked down to the people I love. I told myself she was just honest. That I was too sensitive. But the truth is, I wasn't sensitive enough. I should have walked away years ago. The mistake I made was giving someone that cruel a front row seat to my life. But the beautiful part? I didn't get revenge with screaming or threats. I just turned on the lights and let everyone see her for who she really was.